Welcome to my channel, Amy's Mix of Creativity. My name is Amy, and I admit I am a paper addict. I love paper. All kinds of different kinds, different patterns, all kinds of paper. And if you're a person who loves paper too, and you are someone who's interested in learning more about paper crafting, then you're in the right place. I am going to do a series right now about playing with paper and how to choose your cardstock wisely when you are starting out. You may be a person who's already begun the journey. You may already have lots of paper. I'm going to talk about how to use paper that you have, how to use up scraps, how to figure out how, what kind of paper goes best with which projects, things like that. So stick with me and we'll have some fun. Also, please subscribe. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. This is a new year, and I'm starting this new channel with these new series. I'll also be doing a series on planning and memory keeping for scrapbooking people. I will do a lot of information or provide a lot of tips and techniques on things like card making and other ways to use paper crafting in your hobby, with your any kind of hobby that you have in this arena. Okay, so let me get down to it. So in front of me is various papers that I have. Cardstock is what this type of paper is. Okay, this isn't the same as construction paper, which you might remember from when you were in elementary school. That's a lot thinner usually, or a lot rougher. It's not the same as smooth paper like this. Okay, this is cardstock, this is vellum, and I'll go into each kind in the video. Okay, so what I want to get into now is how cardstock is the basis for the like the foundation for making paper projects, right? So you need to kind of choose your cardstock wisely. There's all kinds of different ways to buy it. You can buy it in packages. Sometimes it comes in packages of 8.5 by 11, which let me just put this aside and I'll show you some of these colorful cardstock collections that I have bought over the years. So these are just variety, but some of them come from packs that I've got. This is a cardstock pack. It's one of the pages in the front of the pack, and it came from the Paper Studio, which is at a certain craft store, which I'm not promoting any craft store, so you can probably figure out where it's from. But there's all kinds of different packs. This is another one. It's called Splash. Okay, and these are some of the colors that came in the cardstock. Some of them I have other cardstock packs too. But I just want to go over some of the information that explains, so to kind of explain what cardstock is. Okay, cardstock, like I said, is a little bit, it's thicker and more flexible than certain types of papers. So it's thicker than regular copy paper, which I have some here. You can see this is copy paper, like printer paper. And this is pretty flexible. Okay, it's thin, it's not heavy in weight. Okay, which I'll talk about the weight of papers in a minute. Here's a very thick piece of paper, which is a piece of cardboard. Okay, this is not very bendable or flexible. It's hard to for me to even try to fold it together. Okay, so it's not good for, cardboard's not really good for a lot of paper crafting activities, but of course it has its place. I'm not going to get into it here, but it's it can be used as chipboard to make embellishments and to make other, to make tags or make things that need to be a little firmer and a little thicker. But for my purpose for this video is I'm talking about cardstock. Okay, so cardstock, like these papers are, it's very easy to bend, as you can see. It's usually very flexible. Okay, and it works good for when you want to make a project like cards or anything that you need to bend easily so that you don't rip it, or when you fold it, it doesn't crease too much and cause, like, you know, it to crack at the crease. Okay, so when you go to choose cardstock, make sure that you understand what you're getting. Okay, now cardstock, of course, you can get it in any of these colors, like here. These are some beautiful colors that I like. The, you know, all kinds of different bright colors. The warmer colors and the cooler colors, very nice. And then cardstock also comes in different other types of papers. For instance, you have just white cardstock, which is often really good to use when you are making a card base. If you want just white paper and you would cut this down into the size you want. Cardstock often comes in packs of like 8.5 by 11. This is what 8.5 by 11 size is, and it would be able to be cut down easily into a A2 type size card. So it would if you cut it in half here, or if you cut even down the middle that way, both ways it would make a 5.5 by 4.25 size card, which is the size for most for A2 cards. Okay, so this type of, you know, white cardstock is very versatile. This is a matte type of cardstock, which is better to use when you're doing something like, you know, stamping onto it. If you want to make, so you want to make you know, embellishments or designs, and you want to stamp onto it and then cut it out with a die cut, this type of paper is best. Now, there are different weights of papers, so you need to make sure you're getting the right weight for the type of project you want to use, that you want to do. So, like I showed you, there's very thin paper, and then there's thicker paper. I'm just reaching over so I can show you. This cardstock is a little thinner than the one I just was holding. You can see the difference. This bends. This is a little harder to bend. Actually, that's not as hard to bend. This is easier to bend. This one's a little bit harder, okay, because that's a little thicker. And then you could get into you could have really thick cardstock. Just show now. I think this is a thicker one, which is like it's almost like I can't bend it hardly at all. Let's show a little better. It's like very hard to bend. The thicker cardstock might be best for using for embellishments if you want them to be thick. If you want like a tag to be thick, you want something that, you know, make sure that you have paper that is going to work for your project. Okay, so, well, what is cardstock? Like I said, cardstock is paper that is, you know, best for crafting. It is usually, you know, it has a certain thickness and a weight to it. And just let me bring this back. I'll show you on here with the different colored cardstock. And you can find this with white cardstock also, that it will tell you on the packaging what the weight is. Okay, the weight is actually it has to do with like 500 sheets of paper. It's not how much one piece of paper weighs, obviously. So don't think of it that way. But most papers run from 65 pounds up to like 110 pound weight. Okay, for a big ream of paper. Okay, and the heavier the paper, obviously, the thicker it's going to be. So this paper is pretty easy to bend. That's probably about 65 to 80 pounds. And this one that's really thick and hard to bend is probably about 110. I prefer the thinner paper myself, just because, or I actually prefer like around the middle road for about 80 pounds, because it works out really good to when you're using it for for both card bases and for you know, for if you want to do embellishments. Okay, so that's good to know. You really should know about the weight of the paper, so you have an idea about that. But also you should know about the GSM. So what the heck is GSM? Okay, so, you know, I even have to like look at my notes, because I'm not, I'm not that familiar with, like, I don't know it right off the top of my head. So just give me a second. But GSM stands for grams per square meter. Okay, so what grams per square meter refers to is how sturdy the paper is. Okay, so the higher the GSM, the more, you know, the more flexible, or the, you know, the more sturdy it will be. Okay, so with GSM, usually it's between 55 and 450. Okay, and I would say that most papers that are good for card making would be above 100, or even higher, maybe in the 200, 300 range. Okay, so it's also good to, you know, make sure it's acid and linen free, to make sure that you're not ruining any of the, you know, the paper won't get ruined after it's saved, and, you know, if it gets a little wet, or if there's any issues with it. So it's good to know what kind of cardstock you're getting. Okay, it also helps to know the texture of the cardstock. So we talked about size and, you know, everything. There's all kinds of different colors. Obviously you can get pretty much every color of the rainbow, including, you know, browns and beige colors. You can get this color, which is the craft color of cardstock, or you can have textured cardstock, or cardstock that's holographic, or that is foiled, or that has, you know, like iridescent shine to it. This is a very glossy paper, as opposed to the matte paper, which is very it's kind of like, you know, just, it's obviously matte is flat type of paper, but it's not going to be all shiny and hard to stick things to it, or hard to you know, it might be a little harder to use this type of shiny paper in certain circumstances, but it's great to use. Here's another type of paper with a different texture, vellum. Vellum is really cool. I'm just going to flip it over because it keeps curling up a little bit, but vellum is really like a very thin type of paper. As you can see my hand through it, and you can put it in for shaker windows, or you can put it in front of different designs to mute the design, so the design is not as strong and as powerful. Okay, so those are different types of textures of paper. And of course, yeah, there's glitter paper. There's all kinds of different types of papers that, you know, you may want to choose. Just choose them wisely, because you don't want to end up with a whole bunch of paper you don't really like. Okay, and if you have a bunch of paper you don't like, donate it or give it away. Don't keep it. It's not worth it. You know, this paper is can be recycled. It can be, you know, it can be used in different ways. So just keep that in mind, that if you find you don't like a certain type of paper, then move on to something else. You know, this paper crafting is a hobby. It should be fun. It should be enjoyable. You should like anything you're working with. If something feels really strange to you, or feels uncomfortable, or you don't want to touch it, you don't like it, don't use it. Just let it go. Okay, so this is the end of this video. I'm going to actually do another part to this cardstock type of video, talking about pattern paper specifically, so that will come up next. So I hope you can come back, that you will subscribe to my channel and help me keep it going. And I have a lot that I have planned for the channel. Like I said, I'm gonna do a whole bunch of different types of tips and techniques, and special videos on different things to help people that are interested in paper crafting. So come back and join me for the next video, and check out any of the videos on my channel at Amy's Mix of Creativity. Thank you. Bye.